All right, so marketing is moving faster than our RevOps teams can keep up and update their dashboards. And so in a world that's characterized by constant change, I've kidnapped Liam from Cognism and taken him to 2030 to look at what's working, what's not, and how we can help our teams, hopefully help B2B marketers navigate the change that's coming on the horizon in the next 5 years when it comes to AI. And so Cognism just launched your demand gen course.
Yeah, demand gen playbook. I mean, I didn't wake up this morning thinking I was going to end up in 2030, but here I am. But we have built a course I think best prepares you for 2030, so I'm hoping I can survive whilst I'm here.
Wonderful. And Turtl just launched our ABM 2030 campaign, which takes a close look at the predictions that are going to shape the world of account-based marketing like in the next 5 years. And so in our world of 2030, we're going to spend some time with some hot takes. And so I pre-prepared hot take number 1. AI content will force Google to kill SEO altogether. What do you think? Hot take or no?
I think I'm slightly divided on this one. I think it's just going to change massively. I think the keyword sort of like setup at the moment, as we know it, is going to be completely different, and that'll be gone. We're not going to be driving traffic to through SEO pages. I think everything's going to be read by AI. And people are going to be interacting with LLMs and getting their information there, and it's going to be distilling and taking your content and referencing you. So it's not, and the same play will be that then traffic will come to you via branded search and direct. However, I think there will still be a place for traditional SEO in the sense that there will still be a place that you'll be able to rank. You're going to come that. Relevance of your content, all of those sort of things will stay exactly the same, that are going to be important. Because as we can see, the LLMs at the moment are still using traditional search to help decide who they're going to mention and see what your visibility appears like in LLMs. So it's really difficult for, I think, to get a handle on exactly which way it will go. But I think there's going to be an element that's going to be still the same, but an element that's going to be very different because there'll be so much more interaction with the chat face interface. I find at the moment, by sticking to some of the traditional tactics that you need for SEO, so we don't have a big bottom of funnel keyword strategy, and keeping content ungated and fresh so that LLMs can read it, we've actually done really well in visibility so far. In ChatGPT, Perplexity, all of the major LLMs. How far that is to say to how far that will go in the future to where we are now in 2030, I'm unsure. So, potential hot take. I'm sitting on the fence here. I'm sorry. It's too nuanced for me.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing, right? And it's like there was a really interesting perspective I saw on online the other day about when LLMs fully like permeate the buyer journey, right? And LLMs are conducting parts of the purchasing process and what that will look like, and then that kind of full loop circle of AI buying from AI for AI.
I heard like a good idea of how the future might be. That I mean, it's already your website is your flagship store if you're like a high street. But the fact that most of the research will be happening through AI elsewhere, that when you and people will be finding out as much information there as possible. When people do finally come through to your website as traffic to your website, we're really going to have to turn our like websites into the hottest like storefront possible, with less about actually getting people to consume content on the site and more with like that conversion journey in mind, because they would have been able to consume so much of the content elsewhere and get that information. So by the time they're coming to you, they're really hot with intent. And I can see that happening, as you say, that as people conduct their research through AI, sending out agents to go book demos as well, getting as much like doing some deep research to get more information back. I think that will change that exact sort of like process that people are coming to your website and to buy in the first place. So those like traditional listicles maybe are not going to be where people are going to end up. Those pages potentially are dead. Whether the rest of SEO and how that works and how we all move in the future, that's the bit I'm not sure about.
Nice. Okay, so hot take number 2, community becomes the primary driver of demand gen in 2030. Hot take or?
Yeah, I think hot take. I think community is one of those things that probably come up every year. And, like, I think, when people are like, oh, what's your big thing for this year? And everyone's like, video, community. And the weird thing is they just come up every year and actually they just get louder each time. So it's like, video, community. They're a bit crazy. And it's because they are becoming more and more relevant, but I don't think people are moving on them. And I think community is one of those. And I think there's the thing about community is community in all senses. That's in person, that's on socials, that's in like Slack communities, chat communities. It's not just that Slack channel that people like to say. But I think it actually goes back to what we just talked about. If people are doing their research through AI, that's one layer. So they're always going to be, the people are going to know, I can get this information from AI. The next bit they're going to want to get that information from is from humans. And they know the only way to truly interact with a human is going to be one-on-one in person. And they're only going to find those people probably in digital spaces on social and in event spaces like here in real life. And so being able to cultivate that and a place where you can also get your advocates into those spaces to actually help along that journey, to support whatever AI is churning out about you, I think it's just going to come more and more key.
I think it's really interesting. I agree. Like, it's one of the things we've seen again and again. Like the thing, what's shaping your marketing strategy next year? Well, those two things. And so what do you think is key to creating a community experience that feels authentic and builds that kind of level of engagement and advocacy?
Yeah, I think this is the difficult thing. It's like so many communities get ruined. So like Reddit, for example, has been hot, right? And in ChatGPT results and Google results recently, because it's one of the last bastions of like a true community where it's not being gamified. Where I suppose it can be anonymous, people can come in and say they're true, what is real. And that's what people want. They want to come and get like the truth, the look behind the mirror that's not like the brand saying it. And I think to allow a community to really flourish, we as marketers have to try and find ways to stay away from it. You can gamify it without ruining it though, and that is by inserting true advocates of your businesses into communities, but then you've got to let them run free. And even a true advocate maybe will say something negative about you, but then they're not going to love everything about your company. But I think but then that gives it that authenticity that actually allows people to get what they need from the community. So I think it's low touch for marketers, and it's about cultivating and trying not to over-engineer it. I think as soon as we over-engineer it, like a lot of the review sites and things like that, we see that people, like, do they trust G2? Do they trust Capterra-ish? It's like, okay, someone said something, fair enough, but you always go looking elsewhere. And if you can go find the person who's actually written the review, you still go talk to them and ask them exactly, is this true? Or did you just receive a £50 gift voucher? So I think to me, it's about being low touch.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. Okay, so last hot take. With everything we've just described, AI taken over in 2030, it'll make marketing more human. Hot take or?
I'm going to say hot take if it's done right. So I think if you use AI to remove your own creativity and just rely on it, it's not going to be more human. If you use it to assist the creativity of your team and of your marketing, then I think you can make it more human. You can create that level of personalization that otherwise seemed impossible to achieve. You can produce the content that you need at scale and more easily. Like video, you can do in higher spec, higher quality stuff that like startups will be able to do, stuff that big brands have only been able to dream of. And that can sell a human story, but the story has to come from the team and you and your team and like a human perspective. If we're asking AI to create it all without the right like input, then we'll disappear into nothingness. So it has the potential to, but it's like has to be done within the right way and probably put in the right hands. maybe it's time for Spider-Man to come out. But, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I think it's so true. Like that trend that we see so much about the role of marketing becoming more like the kind of guardians of taste, right? Especially when it comes to AI and this kind of surge of like what's getting branded as like AI slop, right? Like your ability to be able to really understand and synthesize insight and use that insight to drive like really powerful creative becomes like essential, I think. And so Cognism have been doing that for a long time, right? So like what's your kind of recipe for getting that right?
I think the main thing is just always being like, and actually we're already finding ways that AI can sort of synthesize that data for us more easily, stuff that we really struggled with. But it's like, it's collecting data from everything, it's measuring everything. And actually one of the actual really easy examples for us is we had, you go on like a field on the thank you page of our form, how did you hear about us? I used to download that as a sheet. It's a free text field, and I would try using lookups, like collate all that data, because people just put in random words sometimes and they make spelling mistakes and people call the same. Sometimes people just put internet, really frustrating. Just don't do that. But you can now like just simply, this is such a simple use, just put it through ChatGPT. You can give it kind of rules about how you want it, because it can decode language so much better and it can tell us exactly what people are saying and where they're hearing about us and do that so much quicker. And that's one way, really simple way at the moment, that we can synthesize data that enables us to actually see what content is working in that sort of unmeasurable dark social. And I think, getting that sort of information is going to be enabled us then to lead to be like, okay, so we can actually create more of the human content that they need, are want and they're enjoying, and scrap the stuff that's not working, but using AI to actually enable us to do that.
Amazing. Okay, that concludes your trip to 2030. But before we wrap up, one takeaway for everyone.
What would be my one big takeaway for 2030? I think it's not that scary, and there still is a place for us. And although it might feel like nothing's working right now, I feel like in every era in life, that's kind of been the case. Just stay ahead of the trends, and stay ahead and think about what your customer is doing, most importantly, and how they're buying, and you'll be just fine.
Amazing, Liam. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.